Troops, here we are. It's the Eagle Podcast, and I'm delighted to be joined by Smoking Joe Maphosa. Joe, how you doing, mate?
How we doing, John? Yeah, I'm all good, thank you, mate. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm fantastic. First of all, thanks very much for coming on the show, and congratulations on your last bout. We've just talked about it off air, but you made the art of fighting look incredibly easy. How'd you do it?
To be honest, I think it's all about the learning, the practice, behind it, the training camp. We've been training for 8 weeks for that particular contest, and it's all about just listening to my coaches, really. Every time I'm going back in the corner, we have that minute break where we would get instructions fired at us, and you just have to absorb as much as you can in that time, get your breath back and back to work again.
You must keep yourself physically fit all year round as someone who wants to be a professional fighter, a pro fighter. Discipline and all of these things are very key. How do you, as a young man, how do you keep yourself so focused away from distractions of things that take people off track?
Yeah, for myself, ever since I was, at a young age, when I first started boxing, I just had a real passion for the sport, and I just always tried not to let things on the outside, get in the way of my dream, to be a champion. Ultimately, that's the end goal, and obviously we all have friends, we all have downtime and everything like that. But I think it's it is work in a way, but it's not work. It's something that I do enjoy, but I look at it more in the long term. I want it to be sort of my future.
I think it certainly will be, Joe. I watched the fight that you posted on LinkedIn, and we'll get on the LinkedIn in a minute. And your movement and the way you were just so relaxed in the ring, even for someone like me who's not a boxing sort of expert, I can see that you're just very, very at home in the ring. Does that change every time you have a certain fight, or did you just feel really comfortable fighting the guy you were fighting at the time?
Yeah, it's all about different styles, like you said there.
Yeah.
When you come up against different opponents, you just have to adapt and change the game plan. Like, my last fight, it was more or less, the guy was quite strong, he was quite tough, and we just didn't have to mix him with him. We just had to just score the points and keep moving, score the points, get hit and not get hit, which is the name of the game, and that's it. And that's all I try to do. Just listen to the coaches and rack those points up, and we got another victory. Just
from like a psychological point, now everyone I think experiences sort of fear and is scared. And I remember listening to Chris Eubanks talk about fighting Nigel Benn at the sort of peak of their powers, saying that he was terrified of the man. And I thought it was very, very honest thing to say, to admit that you're scared of your opponent. Now, when you go in there with someone for the first time, what's sort of going through your head until the first punch, until you feel their power? What are you thinking in your mind?
For me, it's interesting you say that. I've spoken to my partner about this as well, because she was very interested to find out what's going through my head at that time, before we sort of link horns. For me, it's always always about, what's the first step I'm gonna do? What's the first move I'm gonna make? The first punch I'm gonna throw, or first defense I'm gonna make, just to make sure that he doesn't hit me and I'm scoring my points. It's just all about the steps going through my head. Right, I'm gonna step in the ring, I'm gonna throw the jab, or I'm gonna throw the backhand, and then he might do this, and then I'm gonna do that. So I'm just trying to think 3 steps ahead in a way, really, just so things flow nicely.
And on the ring walk and everything around you, do you actually hear anything or see anything? I've heard boxers talking before about, I didn't really notice this and I didn't really notice that. I was just sort of focused on what I had to do. Has anything ever sort of caught your eye, or are you that tunnel visioned in the task in hand?
I'm always just tuned in. As soon as the ring walk music goes on, it's like just get this feeling going through your body, and everything else on the outside, you just block it out somehow. And it's all about just, A to B. I've got a job to do now. I need to get my head screwed on, and it's time to go to work.
Wow. I think That's a great thing. Before the fight, what do you do? Do you listen to music? Do you listen to podcasts, or what do you do? Is there anything you've got like a set routine?
Yeah, before the fights, we always just try and stay relaxed. Really, try and stay relaxed during the day. I'll go for some nice food, nice healthy lunch. I'll have a sleep even. I just try and stay relaxed as possible. Save my energy just for that ring time. Just before I leave for the venue, I'll throw on some Roy Jones Jr. on the YouTube or
Right.
some Floyd Mayweather or something like that, just to give me a little bit of inspiration, because you never know. Sometimes you pick up things, and then all of a sudden you're doing it in the ring. So
Wow.
I've always stuck to that routine now. Just before I leave for the venue, I'll get some old boxing tapes on.
Right. So, you're watching sort of stuff on YouTube and sort of seeing what, obviously the people that you mentioned there are obviously massive in the boxing sort of world. Is that who you sort of look to emulate, or is Smoking Joe, is he making his own future and he's going to be his own style and his own man?
Yeah. I think Smoking Joe is going to be my own sort of style, my own sort of label. But I always think the fighters, the likes of Roy Jones Jr. and the Mayweather, it's the speed that always caught my eye. How fast they're moving in the ring, and how they can throw their punch and then defend without getting hit, sort of thing. That was what's always inspired me, and I'll always try and sort of be the same way.
I think, Joe, one thing that's always fascinated me about boxing is the psychological warfare, how it starts long before you even get to the ring. Mannerisms of what certain boxers used to do. I mean, for me, I used to sort of love watching Chris Eubanks, Senior. He's like, the way he conducted himself, it was all this big show, and it was kind of unseen in boxing in that time, of always, big smart suits and speaking in a certain manner and doing things in a certain way. And I thought, psychologically, he would have beaten a lot of people long before he even got to that ring. Obviously, he was a fantastic boxer, heart of a lion, all them great attributes that you need to be a boxer. But there's a difference, isn't there, between a great boxer and a good boxer. And I'm just wondering, as you go up the ladder, I think that will become more apparel. Do you know what I mean? Like, you will get people who maybe want to showboat with you, maybe want to start the old psychological warfare. How do you sort of counter that?
I see what you're saying there. There's always going to be people who will try and sort of get in your head, try and beat you mentally before you even get in the ring. Yeah. And I think for myself, it's just all about just staying focused, and remembering that as soon as we get in that ring, he's got two arms, he's got two legs, just like me. So, everything else, it doesn't matter really. What goes on around closed doors, it doesn't matter. All that matters is as soon as the bell goes, it's just me and you, and we have to go to war. The best man will win in the ring, But a lot of people, they are getting that way now. Even social media, they're using it to sort of, send out attacks just before you even get in the ring. And it's good. It's good for the public. It gets them all interested. It gets them sort of tuned into the sport. But the real thing where it matters the most is in the ring.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And now that's interesting. That obviously you've got a great sort of social media presence, and I think the first time I noticed you was on LinkedIn, and then when I sort of checked you out, I was like, wow, this lad's changing the game here. Like, he's, that's a very business move to make straight away. And is that something that someone's instructed you from sort of your management level, saying, look, you need to be thinking about the package, the complete show? And where did that come from?
No, it was from a good friend of mine, actually, called Steve Gordon. He originally mentioned, the whole LinkedIn business, and really being more proactive on social media, Twitter, and just sort of linking in with the right people, to sort of try and get them to follow your journey, because that's what we need as pro boxers. We all need support, anyways, in any ways where it could be sponsorship or just generally people buying tickets. So I think it's the social media is massive now, and just trying to sell yourself as a professional boxer.
I think you're spot on there. Social media and professional media, obviously LinkedIn, you're at the very start of your sort of rise to the top. And I think if you take those people with you, when you get there, you will have this loyal fan base who've sort of seen you grow. And from what I can see on LinkedIn, you do really well. You comment on lots of other people's stuff. You're very active. You're very personal as well. When I sort of first started talking to you, you were very engaging, which I think is what we need to be in the world. I think the moment you believe your own hype, that you're in the stratosphere, I almost think it's over for you. And it's great to see like a young man like yourself just out there doing big things and representing for your club. Do you have another fight lined up? Anything in the pipeline, or is it just all TBC at the moment?
Yeah, at the moment everything is just obviously all up in the air with what's happening, with the coronavirus and stuff like that. A few shows I know they're in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Matchroom have announced that possibly the shows might be 50-50 whether they're on or off. I know Frank Warren had a few dates sort of lined up in the pipeline for early April, May time as well, but just don't know what's going on. But I'm just sort of negotiate in terms of my contract, and we'll see where we go from here now.
I think it's important that we and I don't want to turn this into the Corona show, it's not, but I think it's important that hardship is good, and I believe it's good that we're having hardship at the moment, because it rounds you off, doesn't it? It makes you tough. It's no different than being a boxer. Do you know what I mean? A boxer has to be physically and mentally tough. And if you get things your own way all the time in life, then you'll never be tough. And when that tough moment comes, and it comes to all of us, you take the body shot and you're on the floor. You know, and you don't get you don't get back up, do you?
That's it.
You don't get back up.
That's very true.
So at the moment, the way I see it is the world is taking body shots, and it's about how resilient we are as a people to say, well, I'm going to go down, but I am definitely getting back up. But moving on from that, you signed with Frank Warren Boxing, obviously. That's massive. How did that come about?
With the Frank Warren Promotions, there's two guys from my gym who originally used to train there, Josh and Callum Leather. I don't know if you recognise the names.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Josh was a IBF champion at the time.
Yeah.
And they were both signed to Frank Warren. So
oh, wow.
It was a case of just my coach, Imran Naeem. He sort of put the feelers out there. Or we've got this kid there, Joe Maphosa.
Yeah.
He's got a good amateur background. He's boxed on Team GB, all over the world and stuff like that. So would you be looking to do anything with him? And at the time, I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't think, I was ever going to get signed to such a big promotional outlet. And a few weeks later, we'll get the phone call. We're on, things are good. And it just took off from there, really. My professional journey started, and I've never looked back since.
Wow. And obviously you've met him, have you? You met Frank Warren? Yeah,
on a few occasions.
Nice.
He's a very busy man. I'm sure he's Tyson Furies and all the world champions who are there now. But it's good for me because it gives me that sort of it lets me know that I need to work myself to get up there. I'm not quite there yet, but my time will definitely come.
Yeah, we talked about it just before we went live, and I sort of now want to talk about it a little bit more in depth. Your last fight, the guy who you fought, there was a moment in the fight, and I think anyone who listens to this can sort of go back and watch it. He calls you on, and not because he really wants to take you on, but because he wants to change the fight into what he wants, which is he wants a dog war. Do you know what I mean? He wants to start training big shots because he knows, I think in his head he knows he's not fitter than you, he's not a better boxer than you. So the only real chance he's got is if he changes it into what he wants, which is a puncher's chance. If I catch you or you catch me, which anyone can, knock anyone out with the lad's a pro boxer, so he knows how to throw a punch. How do you, in your own mind, in the heat of battle, say, okay, mate, I am not going to fight that fight? And I think we can put this into life as well. What goes through your mind when someone calls you on like that?
Yeah, so obviously at that moment there, you know, I could see him really getting agitated and really wanting to have a go. But in my head, it's just all about being smart, really. Even though we're in a fight, and you know we both want to win, but it's not the case of just slugging it out. It's a tactical warfare in a way. You know, I have to hit him and make sure that he's not hitting me back, and that's the name of the game, really, with boxing. It's just all about being smart and staying a few levels ahead of your opponent.
And I sort of saw it. There was a moment you sort of smiled, and I wonder, like, that is a psychological battle that you and him are having. He wants to have this big open war, and you're just saying, "No, I'm cool, and this is my fight, and I'm just gonna box you my way," which I think psychologically will tire that person out as well. Like, I'm talking about, mentally tire them out. And I bet you he was glad when the final bell rang, because I think, you know, if it if it had gone on any longer, you know, I think you would have sort of you would have really put some hurt on him. Do you sort of listen to any motivational speakers or anything like that?
I do. I listen to a lot on YouTube. You know, especially when I'm in training camps. First thing I do when I wake up, I've started doing. I've started putting YouTube on and getting some motivational stuff on there for at least 10 minutes just while I'm in bed. Sort of, you know, get my mind working, get myself in the right positive state. I think, what's his name now? To be honest, it's not the names of the speakers that I listen to. It's more,
it's the message.
Just the messages. I think there's one guy, Tony Robbins, possibly.
Yeah, Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins.
Yeah,
Tony Robbins. Yeah. I listen to him. A few other guys there, just to get me in the right state of mind before another hard day of training begins.
Are you aware of a guy called David Goggins?
Yes, I am. He's the guy with bald head. He's got a bald head. Yeah. He's very, very good guy.
No matter what your sport is or what you're doing in life, or if it's business or it's professional boxing, the message that he sends out, I think everyone could do with listening to it. He's always talking about, you know, tighten the fuck up, and he's right. Do you know what I mean? Harden up a bit. Learn to love the things you hate. Now, you must be, you know, you're in fantastic shape, but still, you don't just stay in shape because naturally you're in shape. Obviously, there's a lot of hard work and dedication comes to it. And I've seen Pete Shepardson training a few boxers in the gym, and the work those lads put in is next level fitness. Talk about your camps and how hard they are on you.
The training camps, they're grueling, to be honest. You know, it's normally around 8 weeks of full-time training where we'll do 2 to 3 sessions a day. You know, first thing on the morning, I wake up, have my black coffee, hitting the road about 6-7 miles. You know, running whether it's raining, whether it's cold or whatever the weather. So, and then from there, breakfast. I'm in the gym for around 3 o'clock with my coach Imran Naeem. You know, he puts me through a tough session where we either do bag work, we do pads, you know, we do everything really a boxer does, skipping, shadow boxing. Yeah. And then also I've got my strength and conditioning coach, Andrew Burton. Right. Where obviously there it's all the weight lifting, you know, the jump squats, the box jumps. But after everything's done, end of the week, you know, your body's just shattered. You've got no energy left. But I will say definitely the hardest part about the session, the training camps, is the hill sprints on a Sunday morning. Every Sunday morning, we go to maybe Ormsby Bank incline. We've been to Clay Bank. We've been to Redcar Beach, sand dunes. Yeah. I'd say that's the hardest bit about the training camp, the hill sprints on a Sunday, 100%. I do not look forward to them.
No, but I know all of that area really, really well with sort of what I do in my sort of distance running world. And there's just something about hills, isn't there? Hills make a big difference in fitness.
Yeah.
And being hill fit and being gym fit, I think, and I say this all the time to people, it's a different fitness. 100%, it's a different fitness. And especially in your world where when you start pushing into them later rounds, I think that's where it really, really, really pays dividend to fitness. Are you doing anything sort of? I'm just wondering. Training is always evolving, and two fighters might train similar, as in road work, running, cardio, gym work, pads, skipping, and then strength and conditioning. But I'm actually helping a friend of mine who's an MMA fighter at the moment. And we're climbing sort of mountains, and we're going over sort of scrambles late at night, and we're sort of creating this new, completely different environment that she's not used to. Do you know what I mean? So she's stepping into something that she's never done before, and she's getting loads from it. And I'm just wondering, is there anyone in the boxing world who's offering like a sort of different take on training that you know of?
At the moment, no, there isn't anyone that I've heard sort of doing that type of training. But it sounds interesting, to be honest, especially just for the mind, you know. So
well, I mean, yeah, it's what we're sort of doing is we're sort of saying, look, if two people are training the same way, what's going to give them the edge? Do you know what I mean? But if you've done something that's a little bit different, or your training's been a little bit more sort of out of the norm, then I think psychologically it gives you a couple of more percentage of an advantage. Obviously, there's the puncher's chance. You know, you could get knocked out. There's nothing you can do about that. You can either take a punch or you can't. You can't train your chin, can you?
That's it.
It's one of those. But I just thought, you know, with so much advances in training and sort of the way it's going, I just thought, I wonder if anyone else has done that in the boxing world. Your attributes and the way you're going on sort of LinkedIn, what are you hoping to do with your LinkedIn audience? Are you trying to sort of build sponsorship, or what's your sort of thinking behind that?
I think it's just trying to build support overall, really. Just to get people following the journey.
Yeah.
The more people seeing it, the more people getting involved. Obviously, sponsorship is a massive thing in a boxer's life, professional boxing. If I can get more sponsors on board, that would be great. Or just generally getting the people of Teesside and all over the UK just to back me. And I think that will give me even more motivation, you know, when it's time to step in the ring, and knowing that I've got these people behind me who are sending me good luck messages on the day, everything like that. It just gives you more energy.
Yeah, no, it's good to build a good local support base. Where is it you train at the moment? You've mentioned your trainer a few times, sorry, and what gym is it, and where's that at, if people want to find it?
It's Natural Progression Boxing Academy, and it's based in Stockton Town Centre.
Right,
it's not very hard to find. Imran Naeem has done a great job there.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice for people to come and check out the gym.
Yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes boxing gets a bad reputation, but how many people has it helped sort of save? Do you know what I mean? And give them routine, give them structure, give them if they want to go pro, or they want to be an amateur, or they just want to do it for fitness and community. I think it's important that people carry on and support local businesses and get down to local boxing clubs. How did you get into boxing from a very, very young age? Or
from a very young age. I was 12 or 13 years old at the time, and for myself, I was always fit in school. I used to love rugby, cricket, you know, cross country running. So I was naturally fit, had loads of energy, and just one time I just thought, you know what, let me go and try out like a boxercise session. You know, not full contact boxing, just for the fitness side, really. And from then on, I really enjoyed the session. The coaches, they recommended me to go and join an amateur boxing club in North Ormsby.
Nice.
Middlesbrough ABC. And when I went there after the first session, I just never looked back, really. I enjoyed it that much. And I spent 10 years there, as an amateur boxer, learning the
Wow.
craft and traveling all over the country, boxing for England as well. And I just really enjoyed it. I really found the buzz for it.
And it gives you something I think we all need is a community, doesn't it? It gives you structure. And I feel like a lot of people who are sort of lacking or missing something, I think boxing becomes almost like maybe it's a father figure to them, and the people who sort of coach and help you progress. And it gives you somewhere to put that aggression and energy, doesn't it? Whether that
100%.
be where and end of the day, mate, if you're tired, you ain't got energy for anything else, have you? Do you know what I mean? If this is busy and the heart is busy, both mind and working together, then you're not thinking about anything else. You just like bosh in a rhythm. And it's almost a shame when I see boxing, someone gets hurt or someone tragically dies. People are quick to jump on it and say, "Oh, it should be banned. It should be banned." It 100% should. No combat sport should ever be banned, because it does so much more for society than it could ever be denigrated for.
100%.
It's a great way to get people, because I think when we've lost all of these community centres, it's almost like the MMA gyms, the boxing gyms, they've all become the new community centres.
They're all packed out now.
Yeah, no, it's great to see. And do you sort of get involved with the youngsters coming through at your place, or are you just too busy with what you're doing?
No, I always get involved. I even like to go and watch them sometimes, actually. When they've got bouts on, and it's quite inspiring for myself when I see them putting the work in and how hard they're going at it. I think, you know what, I need to step my game up. These young kids are going to come and take the throne, and when they're old enough, and it's just good to watch, and it just reminds me of where sort of when I started and how I was at that stage, and it's good to just reflect, it's good, yeah.
You've mentioned, I read on your profile, you boxed for Team GB.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
wow.
2014 to about 2016.
Wow.
So I was alongside the people like Joshua's, Nicola Adams.
Wow.
Joshua Boatsi's. In Sheffield, I used to travel Monday to Friday and stay there. And it was hard sessions, just like what it is now. 3 sessions a day over there. In the morning, you do your run, you do your strength training, mid-afternoon, and then you go back for your gym work. But it was a great experience. I met so many good people. I learned a lot as well, all the traveling. I've been to a lot of countries where I was boxing against top internationals, and it's all going to help me, in my future.
Definitely. You've some big names there with some big futures. I know that much. How did you get in with Team GB, and sort of what do you think you've took away from that as a sort of learning experience?
Yeah, so with Team GB, you have to go through a trial basis where you enter the national championships, and if you get to a good stage, the coaches will invite you to Sheffield, where you'll stay there for maybe 2 or 3 nights. You train with the original team, and you do all the sparring with them. So you really put to the test, all eyes on you. So and I went back and forth for about, I think it was 4 trips where they really test you, mentally and physically. It was hard training. But when I got that letter to say everything's all good and I've got my place, I was so happy, man.
Do you think sometimes if you're the fittest man in the room, say you've been training at a certain club and you're the best person in there, and then all of a sudden you're in this new environment, and all of a sudden you're no longer the best boxer or the fittest? I think there's 1 or 2 ways you can take that, and obviously you've taken it as I need to learn and progress. Or some people can be like, I just want to be top of the tree. Did you on your first session? Did you think I need to work harder, or were you like, oh, I'm happy with my level, or does it make you think?
After my first session, I was just blown away, really. Just with all the people around me, I was thinking I definitely need to step my game up if I want to be getting to the level where they're at. I need to watch them closely and see what they're doing and just perform. You know, this is my time, and I need to step that game up.
We've touched on it a bit. Conditioning for a boxer is crucial. Who would you say that you've sort of seen who you've thought, wow, unbelievably fit or can recover? I mean, I'm always blown away. Ellis Corey, he used to train at the gym where I went to, and that lad's engine room is just, do you know what I mean? It's just phenomenal. So have you ever seen anyone? Obviously, you're a super fit fella, but have you ever thought or seen anyone and thought, God, what are they doing? Like, do you know what I mean? Like a different level.
There is a good friend of mine, actually, Troy Williamson from Darlington.
Oh yeah,
you know,
rockstar. Yeah,
I know you.
Troy. Yeah,
he is. He's another one who's the same. He's just another machine. You know what I mean? He works solid, and it's good having people like that around me. You know, I can sort of use their energy as well to just propel me to the next level.
And are they doing all of the same sort of conditioning work that you're doing, running up Roseby Top End and sand dunes? I mean, sand dunes is awful. If anyone's ever run on sand before, it's absolutely. If you think you're fit, go and run along Redcar Beach.
Oh, it's the worst, man. It's the worst. But yeah, most professional fighters now, they're following the sort of same system. Whereas before, it was all about just hitting the road for, you know, long miles and thinking that's the way to get you fit. But it's changing now, where it's more scientific. You know, the strength and conditioning, with the weights and working on your power and speed. It's all coming in differently now. You know, it's more sprints, you know, hill sprints now, instead of the longer runs that are getting us to the level where we need to be.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting one, and I've sort of heard people talk about sort of strength and punching power. Is punching power something you've either got, or is it something you can gain?
I think that there is natural born punches.
Yeah.
You know, the likes of obviously Tyson.
Yeah.
Them guys, you know, they could land one shot and it'd be lights out.
Yeah.
But like I was saying earlier, with the way the training's going now, you know, the science behind it, I think you can definitely develop that power now. You know, you spend hours in the gym working on the perfect punch. And if your strength and conditioning coach is putting you the same work as well, you can get that punch power 100%. Right.
No, it's interesting because I sort of when I watch people talking about boxing, some people talk about volume boxers. Obviously, they're more about throwing and landing than sort of looking for that one clinical sort of punch, almost like trying to point it all the way through. And obviously the sort of throw a punch and not get hit sort of approach. Can you remember what it was like the first time you took a punch in a fight? The first time you first did you ever think to yourself, like, almost step back and go, "Oh, he's got a bit of power behind him"?
Yeah, I did actually. My very first amateur defeats.
All right, okay.
Yeah, the first time I lost as an amateur, you know, I think it was my maybe 5th or 6th fight. And this guy just hit me once, and it was in his backyard as well. So all his fans were there, screaming his name, and it just gave him a lot of energy, you know. And he kept coming and coming, and I was thinking, how am I going to get this guy off me? You know what I mean? And that experience really taught me a lot in myself. That, you know, even though he was strong and he kept landing these powerful shots, I could just take them and keep going and keep going. So even though I lost the fight, I learned a lot from it.
Yeah, I mean that's it, isn't it? Learning from a loss is almost is how you become better. You know, if you just winning all the time, I don't know. People always say, don't they? You learn. It's hard to take a loss, but you learn a lot more from the loss.
Definitely.
What do you ever sort of? I'm always interested when a fighter misses weight. It almost seems like it's something that should never happen, but I've never had to make weight for something, so I don't want to sort of criticize anyone. How hard is making weight, and do you sort of stay roughly where you are fighting wise?
To be honest, making weight it is tough. It is very challenging, you know, mentally. You have to cut out the things that you love eating for about 2 months or or even longer sometimes, you know,
Yeah.
depending where you're at. We all like to eat, you know, the chocolate, the sweets
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
So, but when you have to cut them out, you just have to do it. But it can be really tough, mentally. And I found over the years, coming through, that some fighters, some people, that they lost their love for the game because of that issue. You know,
Really?
having to diet and having to starve themselves. But for myself, it was tough, especially in the amateurs as well. It was very tough making the weight, to be honest.
What do you normally walk around at?
I'll normally walk around like 57 kilograms,
Oh wow! And
and
then
and
yeah.
I box at around 52 kilograms.
Oh wow!
So
Okay, yeah.
so
Wow.
that's at least 5 kgs that
Yeah.
I'm always having to shift, you know.
And,
So
and it's
naturally,
yeah. Wow. That's
it can be really tough, you know, to bring it down.
yeah. No, I bet. God, that's dedication. That honestly, on a different level. I think, especially when you're sort of closing on a deadline as well. It's like I'm going to have to step on these skills, and I'm going to have the local or the world media sort of watching me,
Yeah.
and then for whatever it is. And is it done over sort of, do you sort of start 10 weeks? If you camp 8 weeks, do you start sort of 10, you know you're going to be having this fight, and you don't start on day one of camp one. What you do, just start a few weeks early, sort of getting it in.
Yeah, it's just all about being disciplined, really. Starting maybe a week before your training camp
Yeah.
begins. You know, just to get yourself sort of
A bit of a
at the right point. Yeah. Otherwise, you know, you're not gonna have no treats at all. So sometimes I like to make sure that my weight is at a good level before I start, just so I'm not too strict, because
Yeah.
sometimes that you can fail at that. You know what I mean? If you're too strict with yourself, you can just start to become a little bit unhappy in training camp. So it's good to leave a little bit of a gap. You know, maybe say one meal on a weekend. I'll
Yeah.
go for a Nando's or something like
Yeah.
that. It just keeps you right. You know.
And how do you find the support from people from the Butter and Teesside and Stockton? Very passionate people, aren't they?
Definitely they are, and I just want to say, you know, a massive thank you to all the fans that have been sort of getting behind my journey. You know, on Twitter, Facebook, everything, Instagram. It's
Yeah.
all coming. So it's all coming together now. You know, when I started my journey, I can see the numbers of ticket sales. They're all going up as well. Social media following is going really well. You know, I've got some amazing sponsors as well from Teesside. I just want to say thank you so much. You know, for helping me out.
Yeah, no, it's great. Who, from a vanity point of view, do you have any sort of other famous boxers who follow you, or any sort of sports stars that you know of who follow you? Or
Trying to think. There's a few guys from Team GB who I was with.
Cool.
Who have really excelled now, you know, or on Sky Sports, and
nice.
and they're really doing the thing now. But one guy that I do really look up to is Joshua Boazzi.
Oh yeah.
But he's probably he's got a massive future ahead. He's probably going to be fighting for a world title, maybe end of this year or next year. We always try and keep in touch.
Cool.
But he's a big inspiration, definitely.
That's fair enough. Joe, we're flying through this, mate, and what I like to do is I'd like to move on to the 5 watts. This is always an interesting part of the show for me, depending on obviously the guest and the background, but I feel like this is going to be a good one. First one, mate, what's the greatest advice you've been given?
The greatest advice I've been given is tough times don't last, tough people do.
Exactly.
And that's always stuck with me. That's
a classic, and it's relevant to what's going on now in the world. Do you know what I mean? It's spot on. Tough people, absolutely.
That's it. We'll just have to keep grinding away and keep going.
Yeah, we're only 45. We're only halfway up this hill, and it's covered in sand.
That's it.
What's on your bucket list?
Climbing.
What's on your bucket list as a fighter and as an individual?
As a fighter, on my bucket list is definitely to be world champion. I want to do that for myself. I want to do that for my family, you know, and for the people of Teesside, and of course for the people back home as well, where I'm from, Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
I want to bring a world title back home.
Mint, that'd be class. I used to back in the day, Joe. I was in the army, and I used to be in the army with a guy from sort of Zimbabwe. So I know there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of pride, isn't there, to do well for
That's
the
it.
for Zimbabwe. Third one, mate. What's been your toughest day?
My toughest day, I would say, toughest period was when I was originally training for the Olympic Games, Rio
Oh wow.
2016.
Yeah.
And obviously everything was sort of going in the right path until obviously deadline day. You know, the coaches, they have to pick only one fighter to go to the qualifiers. And unfortunately, I didn't get picked. Another fighter from Birmingham got picked, who was a really good guy. I mean, he deserved the spot, to be honest. But obviously from then I had to make a decision. Do I stay on Team GB for another 4-year period, or do I just call it a day and go look for the next sort of step forward? And you know, that time period there, it was really tough for me, knowing that I didn't make the games. And but you know, it's going to make me stronger, and I learned a lot from it.
Nice. That's very honest. Fair play. Fourth one, mate. What's been your happiest day?
Happiest day for myself, I'd probably say when my daughter was born.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she was born. She's coming up 5 now.
Oh wow.
She really makes me happy. You know, sometimes it's quite tiring chasing her about here and there. But I'd say the day she was born was probably the happiest day.
Ah, class. That is class. Fifth and final one, mate. What's next?
What's next for myself right now? My first title shot, definitely in 2020.
Nice.
We're going to find out whether we're signing a new contract or you know, looking to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
But 2020, we're going to see myself fighting for my first title shot, 100%.
Nice one. Any have you got is the title in mind? What's the title? What would be the title?
There's no title in mind just yet.
Right.
But I know there's the English title is vacant at the moment.
Nice.
It's super flyweight. But there's also a few sort of international titles that we could go for. You know, WBO international title or IBF international. So it's just whatever opportunity presents itself, and we'll look at it and we'll see what route is best for us.
Who sits on the top of the tree at your weight at the moment? Who's the top guy?
Top guy at the moment, super flyweight champion is a guy called Roman Gonzalez.
Right.
He just beaten Carl Yafai from Birmingham.
Wow.
Really good fighter.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of experience, but by the time I get to the top of the tree, I think he'll be gone. So
fair enough. That's
fair play.
Fair enough. Hey, you'll be the top guy. That's how you need to think, innit? You'll be the guy. That's how it's gonna go.
Definitely.
Hey, look, we're coming to the very, very end of it, and I just want to say, thanks very much for sort of giving us an insight into the world of boxing. I feel like the world of boxing and the world of business aren't a million miles apart. You know what I mean? Like, there's similarities that can be taken from both angles. You know, you can't always win, and sometimes when you lose, you get more from the loss. And sort of, you've got to sometimes learn to lose in style, win in style, and lose in style, is what someone said to me. And don't believe your own hype. So before we close out, Joe, where can people find you on social media, website, and etc.? Go for the stars, mate.
Yeah, anyone who's looking to follow the journey, you know, and looking to keep in touch, you can find me on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn as well. You know, everywhere, just as Joe Maphosa. And I need all the fans and all the support possible. So please reach out, guys.
Brilliant, ladies and gentlemen. That's been Smoking Joe. Mark my words, he'll get to the top. And if you've not seen him fight, YouTube, and soon he'll be on Sky Sports, and he'll be fighting for the big titles. And it's always good to see. It's always good to see people from the area, from the northeast, doing really, really well. Joe, thanks very much for your time, and I'll get this podcast out ASAP. And no doubt, I look forward to meeting you in person, mate.
No, I really appreciate it, and thank you so much for having me on. Anyways, John, really
Cheers,
appreciate
mate.
it also.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers
very
now.
much.
Bye-bye. Bye.